relationships with some of the men that were killed that night on September 11th. But what's important to note is prior to even September 11th happened, there's a lot of controversy about did we know the circumstances and situation and everything else? And the answer is unequivocally we knew everything about that circumstance. I knew I was going to deploy, so I was having my 18 Fox, who's an intelligence guy on my team, brief us all the significant activity that was taking place in Libya every single week. So he was tracking SIGACs in Benghazi, in Tripoli, in between, and was telling us a lot of bad shit was happening. In fact, it dictated a lot of my training that I was doing with my team. Because I would say, hey, well, the UN just got a frag thrown at their vehicle. The Italians just got their vehicle blown up. We need to do training on mobility and react to contact. So it drove a lot of our training protocol. Well, then Benghazi kicks off. At the time that Benghazi kicked off, I was in a special missions unit compound at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I was doing crosstalks because it was there's a joint task force or operation, and was watching the whole thing unfold on ISR, on the planning. We did a hasty planning. I was part of that process, and then was coordinating with my team and my company back at Fort Carson, Colorado, to where we were standing up to launch and deploy, because our job was to do that, to respond and react. So, longer story shorter, we winded up leaving a few weeks right after Benghazi and deploying with the intent originally of standing up a 1208, which is a counterterrorism program, to go counter Al-Qaeda, which just tells you obviously that we were thinking about things that were happening that was bad, because we had already pre-planned that we were going to do that. And then also find the men who were responsible for killing and Ambassador Stevens, Adam Smith, Glendori, and Tyrone Woods that night, and develop target packets to be able to give the DoD options to kill or capture those guys.
So 2 questions. One, from a personal knowledge standpoint on your end, were you aware of any realistic and legitimate capability from a quick reaction force standpoint that was not used?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one thing I know, having a good personal relationship with one of the guys that was not killed, that was on an adjacent rooftop that I've spoken with. I know the details, but especially I love that you're on here too, and that it's a totally different perspective, and that it's the first time we've ever met, so it's a totally different dimension of it that can kind of corroborate it, that I think people just need to fucking know.
Yeah, we had capability in and around the area of operation that was taking place in Libya. For geographical reference, Libya is the furthest northern country in the continent of Africa, right across the pond from Italy, right across the pond from Malta, from Greece, and the whole entire European theater of command. We had, look, the commander's in extremist force, which when people say what kind of guy, what were you in special operations? I don't say, yeah, I was a unit guy, because I didn't grow up in the unit. I didn't spend my entire career there. I was there for a few years. My career was mostly spent in the commanders and extremist force. And those boys across 5 groups, which is partly part of the history and lineage from the unit, their job is to do crisis response in their geographical theater of operation, which in this case was Africa for us. But there was a unit called C-110, Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group in Estonia at the time, that was forward deployed doing a training exercise and had all the air assets and capability to react and respond. That's what we do.
Yeah.
When I hit the ground in Libya, the dude who was the operational commander of all special operations forces on the ground in Libya was a Wells Fargo employee. He was a reserve lieutenant colonel who was tasked to do a specific job, which was, hey, you're going to be the staff J3 or whatever, staff commander of all your special operations. On the ground in Libya, he didn't even know what the fuck the SIF was.
Good news was he hooked you up with a sweet auto loan, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he gave me a sweet auto loan. He gave me a discount on my house. But it's like we had all the capability to respond. Now, a broader question is, would it have made a difference? Well, that's relative, because The question is, did we respond accordingly and appropriately right after Benghazi? The answer is no.
Yeah.
We pulled out.
Yeah. Well,